Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. It's a new week, new theme. We're going to be looking at some of y'all's favorite tracks that came out last year. And on Saturday, the end of the week, we're going to look at my favorite albums that came out of last year. We're going to kick it off, though, with the band. I love this band name. They're called Gaytheist. Oh man, the album's called The Mustache Stays. The track we're looking at is called Pyrohydra, which I don't know if it's necessarily what they were going for or if it's just, you think of a hydra that spews fire, Pyrohydra might be the first thing that comes to mind, but it is the legit name of a D&D creature, so that's kind of where my mind goes on that. Let's dive into this, see what Gaytheist is bringing to the table. Table today, dude, that's just such a good name. It really is. And the thing is too, I bet they thought they were real clever when they came up with their band name, but like legit, that's a clever name. They should feel real good about that. All right, a slow start. That is a rap. Okay. Bit of noise. Those are groups of 332. I think it still is 4/4, just with a really interesting phrasing. Dude, the drum phrasing. God, that is gnarly. No, it's 9. 3 bars of 3. The first 2 are chaotic. The last one is a bit of calm. Even quieter, the bass still sounds filthy. And the feedback to help transition. What genre is this? Because I enjoyed this. I'm going to be checking this album out. It reminds me a little bit of stoner rock with a tad, a little drop of psychedelic in there, particularly in the note choices. I feel like the note intervals and the chords in general kind of have a little bit of that psych feel going on. It reminds me of like a punkier Queens of the Stone Age. And Queens of the Stone Age does that psych stoner thing really well, but I would never confuse these two bands. There's way too much punk influence on this one, and it's more interested in intensity and noise over groove, which is what I always associate with Queens of the Stone Age as groove. But I can hear some harmonic similarities between the two, and it's like a more energetic version of Queens, and I really enjoy that. I'm definitely going to have to check this album out, and I'm a bit mad that I missed it somehow last year, because this is absolutely, assuming the rest of the album has this energy, something that might have ended up in my album of the year video on this Saturday. I enjoyed this. I want more of it. I do. But I think the thing that really stands out to me is the punk edge to it. And part of that comes from the intro too. We had a quiet, soft, slower start to the track, and then sort of a psych out for the energy. 3, 4, 5 seconds in, maybe, we get into some really chaotic ideas. The bass is massive, the guitars are playing their riffs, the drummer's all over the place. But it does take a couple of seconds to get to that. I was psyched out and then surprised because I don't even think I got a full sentence out. I started to talk about how we had a fade in energy-wise, and I started to talk about how the tempo was a bit slower. And before I could finish either of those, I was already talking or having my face melted off and being blown away by the speed and the intensity and the layering and the size of everything. I really like that fake out. Barely even giving me a chance to register what's happening before pulling that rug out from under me. The setup was instantaneous. Just a really fun way to kick this off, and to me that feels punky. It really does. It's not even about setting up expectations and letting them simmer and then subverting them. We kind of allude to some expectations and then say, screw it, and just pull, it's the table trick where you pull the tablecloth out, but everything stays the same, but you didn't take the time to actually set it up properly or to get the right angle, and you just rip it off and everything comes crashing down, but that was by plan anyways. It is a subversion of the expectation, and I love it. It's playful, it's fun, it's punk, and it works here. Now, I don't know how that works within the album. This is track... I'm going to laugh if this is track 1. This is track 7. So I think by now you should have a pretty good understanding of what the band is. So I don't know how well that works there on the subversive level, but as an entry to this band, this was a fantastic way to be introduced to them. Now, on a really interesting note, I wasn't planning on talking about this at all, but I'm seeing it now. The first 6 tracks are between 1 and 2 minutes each. We're in like grindcore territory here. These tracks are incredibly short. 130, 117, 130, 103. We have a 2 and a 240. Then we have this one, which is almost 4 minutes. Then there's an 8-minute track, and then some 3s and 2s, some more typical, radio popular music range. So we start off super short, have a long track, and then kind of meet in the middle in a more standard 2 to 3 minute range. I'm even more intrigued about this album now. Back to back 1 minute songs. Just craziness. 11 tracks, 31 minutes. I can probably get through this today if I wanted to. I might. This might be my first listen of the week. I'm excited about it. Anyways, back on track with the music. the bass is gnarly. It isn't necessarily like a filthy tone. It doesn't have a lot of rumble and grit to it, but it is massive. It knows it's massive. It knows it sounds sick. It has some really great lines. It keeps up with the guitarists, and it even gets the spotlight in the bridge. I'm all for really big bass tones doing cool things. And this track does it in spades. Absolutely love that part of it. The guitars are, interestingly, the least frantic part of this. The vocalist sounds like they should be out of breath at every turn. The drummer, I don't even know what they're doing half the time. And the bassist is just constant speed. The guitarists aren't any slouch either, but compared to everyone else, they're the glue that holds everything together. They're forced to be the foundation. It's pretty interesting that it sort of turns the usual pyramid of role placement upside down and puts both of the guitars mostly in the realm of rhythm and foundation. There's some melody coming out of the guitars. Sure, the riffs are occasionally single note melodic ideas, but they're still relegated to the realm of everyone else is crazy. We need to be the foundation that's solid to support all of this. And I like that. They get a chance to do some cool stuff, but it also allows the drum and the bass to really take over in this band, giving them a unique identity. I don't hear a lot of punk or stoner music like this. The bass and the drums are usually a bit on the... Well, they can still be technically impressive, but not usually the centerpiece for music. And I'm enjoying seeing that here. Speaking about the drums, though, they are wild. And there's parts of this track where I don't even know what they're doing. They're, what is it? Polyrhythmic ideas are just throwing me for a loop. They're not really in time, in phrasing, in accent with anyone else. Their patterns are unique within the song, and I don't know how to follow them yet. This is going to be a song that takes a couple listens to really grasp some of the more chaotic drum parts. And I think that the finale of this song is when all of this kind of comes to a head. We get a peak of the chaos going on here. But it's also alluded to elsewhere in the track. We have the chorus, which is kind of bonkers time signature wise. We're looking at a 3/4 here, but we're not looking at a 12-beat phrase. That would be 4 bars of 3, and 4-bar phrases are pretty typical. Even when you get into odd time signatures in some of your favorite prog bands, they're still going to stick with pretty standard phrasing, 4 or 8-bar phrases, no matter how odd the time signatures may be. There's just something comfortable about the symmetry of that. Not this group, though. It's what threw me off initially because I couldn't figure out what was going on in that first chorus. It's a 9-beat phrase. It's 3 bars of 3. It's awkward. We have the first group of 3 and the second group of 3 being high intensity. The drums are going all sorts of off, and the bassist is dropping a bunch of notes in here. It's just rather chaotic. And then there's 3 beats of calm. And so we have this push and pull in a sense, but it's not a symmetric push and pull. We have 6 beats of chaos and 3 beats of rest. And I'll tell you, that feels very intense because we have the contrast here. We're moving from a 10 to like a 4. And so every time we return back to the 10, we feel that. When we return back to the 4, we feel it. And it's in such speed, such frequency, that we don't ever have a chance for either of them to become normal. For the 10 to sort of just become the sound of the song. It doesn't feel intense anymore. For the 4 to become normal, right? They always feel like the extremes that they are, but it also feels like we're being rushed through it. And we are sitting in the intense side more often than not. And it ends up actually feeling more fatiguing to constantly jump back and forth between the two, but have less time at rest than at intensity. That I think it feels more overwhelming than if they had just run at the 10 for the entire time. It's like you're getting an opportunity to catch your breath, but never enough to fully fill your lungs. And so you are losing air as it continues on. And eventually you're going to reach a point where you really just need to take that extended break. You're running yourself ragged, and the little breaks are actually doing more harm than good. And that's what the middle of this track, or not the middle, the chorus feels like, because of this asymmetric and odd time signature. I really hope that's what they're going for. I hope when we hit the lyrics, that's something they're touching on, because they capture this vibe really well. And it comes down to individual parts. It comes down to the phrasing. It comes down to the time signature. It's the total package. It's all of it. It's every part of the composition and production coming together to create this feeling of just being overwhelmed. Wonderfully done. And of course, the song wraps up on this as well. And I think that's going to be my general takeaway from this track, emotionally and thematically, is a feeling of being overwhelmed. And, you know, I'm coming back to the title, Pyrohydra. Any sort of hydra is going to be an overwhelming and fatiguing battle. It is a multi-headed, giant, dragon-like beast. And, you know, some hydras grow their heads back too, so it just makes the battle feel even longer. You can't win. There's always more things to worry about during this battle. So I think this feeling of frantic, overwhelming music that becomes more overwhelming as the song goes on, and having a finale be this intensity capstone at the end of the track, I think that captures the idea of battling any sort of hydra, but also a pyrohydra. I mean, you got fire in the mix too. Your environment is being set on fire, restricting where you can go. Yeah, it works. I think that works really well. I'm gonna hit some lyrics here, see what's going on with that, and then we're gonna wrap this video up. All right, well, I went and looked for the lyrics on this and couldn't find any. I don't know if it's just too new or too small of a band, but I enjoyed the song so much I went back and re-listened to it just so I could write down the lyrics myself by ear. And while one or two words I'm not 100% sure on, I'm fairly confident in the rest of this. So we have a track here that's mostly about battling yourself, while also understanding that sometimes the tried and true methods are the best way through. We have the concept at the beginning that says, the voices in my head say there's no one for me, and the voices in my head say this is how it will always be. So we have somebody who is struggling with mental health and trying to combat the voices in their head. This is the general crutch of the the general focus of the entire song is on this mental health awareness and trying to overcome it. And I want to skip a little bit to the bridge. We'll come back to the pre-chorus and the chorus in a moment. The bridge, though, I really love this line. It says, 7 severed minds, they all see through my eyes. I love how this contextualizes both the concept of the Hydra, multiple heads, the concept of cutting off the heads of a Hydra and it growing to more within the framework of hearing voices in your mind, and the idea that they're severed minds seeing through your eyes. Most of the time when we hear other people's voices in our mind telling us that we're not good enough, bringing our self-esteem down, it's not always them. Yes, sometimes you remember very specific words and sentences they've said to you, but other times you're also hearing new ideas. And in those moments, they're not really putting you down, you're putting yourself down. A lack of self-confidence, using their voice as a mask for these thoughts. This is the severed minds seeing through my eyes. They're just my voices. It's just me. These are my thoughts. I hear them from another's voice, but it's not them. This is disconnected entirely from their mind, their thoughts. I love how that pulls it all together, and the fact that you're using your negativity, your lack of confidence, and using their voice, almost giving them fuel for the fire, attributing new ideas to them, new ways to put yourself down. This is the replication of the Hydra heads here. They have done all the mental manipulation, all the putting down that they need to. Now you're going to put yourself down for them. It comes together really well. The rest of the bridge says, well, all right, we're gonna start here then, and then we're gonna come back to the chorus. It says, "Are you up to the task of wearing your mask? You're doing what's right. You're giving a fight." And it took me a second to figure out what was going on here with the idea of wearing a mask, which is usually more of a negative idea of hiding intentions, and disguising oneself, putting the truth behind a wall. But I think it actually it's going to tie into the chorus here, and it's about the idea of kind of fake it till you make it. You see, the pre-chorus seems to present our narrator with someone who has overcome the same lack of confidence and the same attribution of that lack of confidence to other people's negative criticisms in their minds. It says, how do you do it? What's your remedy? And my interpretation of the next two lines is it's the answer. The other person is responding, saying that you're your only true enemy. Once again, reinforcing the idea that it's all you. You may be attributing these thoughts to other people, the voices in your head of people who have put you down in the past, but it's still your lack of confidence here. You're the enemy. You need to overcome yourself. And the chorus goes into this idea. It says, I know it's cliche and I know it's been done, but I'll say it again like I've said it before. And that's it. It doesn't explain what's been said before, what this cliche idea is. But I think that's where the bridge comes in, about wearing the mask, about fake it till you make it. You just gotta do. There really isn't an easy fix for lack of confidence. There isn't an easy fix for getting rid of those thoughts in your mind that you're not good enough. You just need to do things. Hopefully, when you do things and you accomplish things, you can now say, hey, look, I did this. I have this skill. And once you do that enough times, maybe that can shut out or drown out all the negativity, or at least on that specific topic. Now, I'm no psychiatrist or psychologist. Maybe there are also other ways to go about doing this, but I think that's where this song is sort of going in the direction of. And the end of the track brings back that opening line. Well, the voices in my head say, and then the rest of the band through group vocals shouts, shut up, shut up. And I originally took this as the voices telling the narrator to be quiet, but I think that the vocal change, moving from the lead vocalist to the gang vocals, is supposed to be these other voices, maybe your friends, your support network, your family, anything else that tells the voices in your head to just shut up. Because this just loops over and over a few times, and the final time the main vocalist joins in with the shouting. You just got to drown out those negative criticisms in your mind. I think that's ultimately what the song's going for here, and I think that matches a lot of the punk energy in this. But I also enjoy how the song gets frantic. as if all of these, I mean, go back to this, metaphorical battling of a Hydra here, especially a Pyrohydra. It's going to be more and more intense as the battle continues on. You're getting worn down, but the enemy is getting stronger. More heads, more fire. And fire sets things on fire, reduces the area that you have around you to dodge or for positioning or whatever. The song becoming more intense, I think, lines up well with this sort of battle that's going to increase in intensity until it's over. And so it works on every level, the anxiety of dealing with this, also the metaphorical elements of battling this mystical creature. And it just sounds good as a song too. This really works on every level. These are my thoughts then on Pyrohydra by Gaytheist. What did you think of this? Is there anything that stood out to you? Anything that you'd like to add on to what I said or correct me on? Do you have your own thoughts, opinions, or perspective on this track? Maybe something that differed from mine. Please put all of that, as well as anything else you'd like to add, into the comments section below. Above that, in the description box, you'll find a link to Linktree. It takes you here. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three of those. That wraps it up for today. I'll be back tomorrow, though, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. UTC as usual. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.